Hey everybody, welcome to the series called Slow Down. This is where we take footage of either 120 or 240 frames per second and really break down what we see when it comes to technique and other things that we might find on these waves. This series started on the Boogie Everyday membership platform, somewhere where we do video analysis and talk about things exactly like what you're going to see in this video. If you're interested at getting better at bodyboarding, head on over to boogieeveryday.com and check out the membership for yourself. Now let's slow this one down. This week on Slow Down, we are going to be looking at Tanner McDaniel on one of the waves at the wedge. A bigger wave, so a lot more going on, a lot more adjustments needing to happen, and a lot more things need to happen in order for you to go up into the air. The main thing I want to focus on, Tanner's technique. I feel like he's one of the most technical riders on the planet, and that means that we can learn a lot from him, especially when you watch him in slow motion. So let's jump straight into it. So straight from the top here, we noticed there was a bit of backwash there. If we go back here, you can see how Tanner does really well to navigate this backwash, is he actually kind of extends the front arm a little in order to not let the board kind of push him off the back of the wave. If he hadn't extended the arm and put pressure on the nose, I think the backwash would have pushed him a little bit higher on the wave and he would have actually been sitting a little bit further up. So he did really well to kind of navigate that at the start. And as soon as he engages the rail here, he kind of stays in the same position. A big thing that we were talking about last week, especially when we talk about timing, is the eyesight and where to look. And Tanner does a great job here. As he starts this bottom turn, you can see him really getting kind of into control here. He bounces a little bit there. Notice his fins are staying in the water, they're staying planted. This one, not so much, so your outside foot kind of can come up, can lie above the water surface. But the inside foot, the foot that's closest to the lip, that's always planted in the wave and really kind of a good bottom turn here. You can see his positioning on the board. He's leaning forward, so he's over that kind of 90 degrees of the arm. Leaning forward, water coming off the rail, as well as having that kind of leg placed in and the eyesight. Watch this entire wave and you'll see Tanner does not take his eyes off the section that he wants to hit. So as we go through here, we can see still the same thing. We spoke about this last week too, is when we are bottom turning, we only have one opportunity, and you'll see this fine adjustment that Tanner makes here. Notice one thing about Tanner is he's trying to get as much speed as possible. Again, leaning forward, really fast on the board. The board is almost flat on the water. Now both legs are out of the water. So once he's actually engaged the rail and got onto the rail, he can actually afford to lift the legs up and really kind of like lift all the weight off the water so that you're just skimming on that back corner of the board. And that's what he's doing here. Still, eyes have not been taken off that point that he's going for. And you can see with all the bump and everything that's going on here, eyes locked in that position. The wave gets pretty crazy behind him here. But as we go through this, you can see still locked in, good positioning on the board. Now both feet actually up out of the water. And that's a pretty big thing for allowing no drag to even touch the surface of the water. This is going to give you maximum speed. And especially when you're going for bigger moves and you're trying to do bigger moves, this is what you want. You want to get as fast as possible, because even if you do make a slight mistake, you're still able to go up into the lip and you end up breaking through most of the time and actually getting a lot more elevation just because you have the speed. So speed is key when you're going for big moves. And as he goes into this here, it's kind of cool how it kind of zooms in here. You see he goes flat again. He's almost done the bottom turn and now he's kind of mid-face, kind of waiting for that time when the section builds up in front of him where he can actually go for it. And you can see here, this is kind of the adjustment that I'm saying. You see how he pulls up here? So he really, on the edge here, he's all the way forward. We spoke about this quite a lot. He wasn't really all the way forward until he kind of does this second micro adjustment, is what I would call it. You see how he pulls up here and he's just changing the angle. So obviously he's seen that when he's riding up to the wave, he was kind of planning to go a little bit further, so if he hadn't made this, his angle of approach would have been a lot slower and a lot more kind of down the line. Here he's kind of pulling the rail up and he's actually forcing the board to head directly for the lip. So this adjustment here, he's obviously was looking at this section. I think this is where he hits it, but he might have been looking a little bit further down the line and now has to change in order to adapt to what's happening on the wave. So he's obviously seen this section here. He's seen further down is maybe already starting to cap, adjust that line ever so slightly, and he's back into this kind of flatter position on the board. And then as he goes up for it here, notice how he extends back. So he's actually going to be pushing the board through, exactly the same as we spoke about with the roll. He kind of pushes the board forward, and that's what's getting him to hit this lip. You can see this part of the lip here. He actually catches the nose slightly, but because he's got so much speed and so much drive into this wave, he's able to catch the nose and really use the momentum that he had and use the speed. The head is back. It's not directly over his shoulder at this point. He's just kind of looking back almost to where he was coming from. So we go up here. He's hit this section. He's kind of using his arm. You can see there's like a little bit of compression and then extension. So quite a lot of compression when you've got that much speed, and then the slight extension there to kind of get the board up and get the pop of the board, and then into this really good technique. Tanner does this so well. I mean, he's probably one of the best left-hand air reversers in the world right now. And you notice his eyes here, trying to look over his shoulder, almost looking at his fins. This is a big thing that I always say. Always look back as if you're looking towards your fins. And then on the come around here, he's 3/4 of the way coming around, and you see this spray here really kind of like cushions his landing. So he almost goes through this, and you'll see he's kind of stopped there in that white water, stopped there, and he's actually bounced forward here. But notice his positioning when he's landed. Every part of his body is really compact. We'll try go back a little bit here. I just want to see, maybe discuss where his arms are at. So see, elbows tucked in, elbow on the front of the board, really solid, really strong. And as soon as we go through this, as soon as he comes down and lands through this, landing through the white water, notice the position here. Really strong position on the board, taking that, absorbing all of that kind of pressure from the wave coming up, and he's actually able to just ride out of that pretty easy. A big thing about the wedge is all that water then converges, so you're literally just holding on and hoping that you just get to the sand as fast as possible. But here he had so much speed that he's able to just kind of ride out of that super easy. So as you guys can see, there are so many things that happen on a wave that you might miss when you are watching it at high speed, but when you really slow it down, you can see technique and how you can adjust when things happen on the wave. If you guys want your own video analysis, or if you want more bodyboarding tips and tricks, head on over to Boogie Every Day and join on the membership. I urge you guys to go back and dissect waves that you might have of yourself and see where you might be going wrong and how you can better your technique and understand waves a lot better. If you guys have any clips that you think I can talk about technique or what is happening on the wave, please drop it in the comments down below. Otherwise, share this with a friend, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.